your owner's manual. This is what I have here. The Explorers actually have two different types of engine and two different types of transmissions. So if you have 2.3 liter EcoBoost, that engine, then the automatic transmission fluid that you're gonna need is about 9 quart. And the spec for that is gonna be the Mercon LV. This is 10 LV12 for, this is Canada and US and Mexico. It's 10 QLVC. This is the same type of fluid for all the engine that I saw here. The volume kind of goes different. So this is 2.3. My V6 is 3.5 liter. So that's gonna be here, this 3.5 liter version. And if you see here, now I have two different types of transmissions in here. Depending on the type of transmission, it's 10.9 or 11.6 quarts of the ATF, the automatic transmission fluid. The type of fluid is gonna be the same. XT10 QLVC for US and Mexico, the Mercon LV. I always use the same OEM brand, so because the gearbox is configured to the thickness or the specs of this particular fluid, so that's what I would recommend you stick to as well. Don't use any other shelf brand or any other version of this. So that's to go ahead and do it. Now the other thing I want to point out is this 10.9, 11.6, depending on what type of gearbox you have, doesn't really matter. Just get the 10 quart, and this is from my experience, right? This is, you see the star sign here. This is for our complete dry fill. We are not doing a dry fill, we are just doing a drain and refill. That means you're never gonna have, or you're never gonna get 100% of what's in the gearbox right now drained out. If you get more than 80%, you're lucky. But given the filter and everything else inside traps the oil and it's gonna keep it there, you're not gonna get all of that 10.9 or 11.6 out. So, and the good news is that we do have the dipstick in the for Explorer, so we can see min-max range and the gauge, and that works perfectly fine. So don't worry about getting it exactly right or buying additional 2 or just 2 gallons of 5 quarts. I think that will do the trick. Now another thing to keep in mind is, me personally, I do like to do the drain if I have the dipstick on the car on a hot engine, so that allows for the liquid to kind of heat up and drain better. And also the agitation will make sure if there are any debris or any imperfections, it will try to get those out. But that's what I'm gonna do. Again, that actually also reminds me, I want to share with you guys, and this is from my experience, right? There is a lot of discussion around hot and cold drain and fill. What I prefer, or what I do, is if the car, and I have 2 different cars, I've done this multiple times, and both cars are different. So if you have a car where you're doing this, any fluid or oil, engine oil, and that car has a dipstick or gauge, then it doesn't matter. You go into changing the oil, on a hot engine or cold engine, doesn't matter. You get the drain, you fill up 80% of the required quantity, run it for a little bit, and you check the gauge to see if it's within that min-max range. If it is, you're good. Now, if the car doesn't have a dipstick or gauge, then I always try to avoid drain and fill on a hot engine. I will keep that on cold. And the reason behind that is the fact that the fluid's volume or density, it changes when as it heats up, right? So a gallon of cold oil or fluid is not going to be the same in volume as the hot oil that comes out of the engine. So it's something to keep in mind. Now the good news for our Explorers, we do have a dipstick, so absolutely no issues. You can go for hot engine, cold engine, doesn't matter. Drain it, and after that we're gonna fill it up for about 80-85%, which is going to be about 8 or 9 quarts. I'm not going to go more than that, knowing that my past experiences have shown I always have a quart or two in there. It never takes more than 8 or 9. So that's where I'm going to be, and then I'm going to start the engine, let it cycle through, and then I will check the dipstick. If I'm below the minimum line, or if I'm not, it doesn't look good, I'm going to top it off. Topping it off is much easier than draining it out, right? So I would rather be 90% and then move the 10% from the top, versus going 120% and then trying to drain the remaining 20%. I'm going to lose more oil or fluid there. That's all. Let's go ahead and do the real work, get it drained and filled. All right, so this is the Mercon LV. This is the oil fluid we're going to be using back on the car. As I said, 10 quarts in total. I don't think I'll be getting 10 quarts out of the car, but this is a hot engine. I drove it for a little bit, and the temperature was showing at kind of operating temperature. If you see that little cap there with yellow on it, that's the one, the fill cap. Look for it. On the cap also it says transmission fluid only, Mercon LV. Let me see if I can actually zoom this a little bit. Right there. So it does say transmission fluid only and Mercon LV. So anyway, so that's what we will take out. I'm not going to remove that cap just yet. It's right underneath there. I'm not going to remove the cap just yet. I will go ahead and first remove the drain plug. And the drain plug is actually under the car. I don't have the car on a ramp or anything. It should be okay. So this is the gearbox, and you have to remove this one here, a little further, right here. So I put some WD-40. So just a note, there are two bolts. There is one in this location here on up top. There is one here. We're gonna remove that. It's 11 mm, and that's what we're gonna be removing. And of course the drain bucket, we're gonna let that drain and go from there. There is no crush washer or anything as such, so be careful not to over tight or anything as such. I can see on mine it's 2 or 3 threads out. That's totally fine. Same situation here, so that should be okay. You just have to be careful there. All right, let's go ahead and take that little bolt out. So as I said, it's 11 mm. I'm gonna go ahead, get this out. We'll go ahead, let that drain completely. So while that's draining, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the fill cap. So if I open it here, it's gonna kind of speed up the process. It's in a very awkward place, but this is the dipstick, Just be careful, make sure you don't drop the fluid on any painted surface of your car. I think this will spoil the paint. The transmission and the brake fluids are not good for painted surfaces. We'll give another few minutes and I think we'll be ready to refill. But before I start the refill, I do want to measure, see how much came out. Just take the 4 quarts or 3.5 that I have here. That's what I'm gonna replace with, and then we'll wait for, or we'll check on the dipstick to kind of make sure the level is correct. So with that, let's go ahead and, if you can see, there are still few drops still dripping, but I think we're ready. So I'm gonna go ahead, clean this area a bit more. Make sure your drain plug is clean as well, and let's go ahead and put it back. If you can get your hands on that anti-seize paste, I think that will be a good idea. It will seal it better. I don't have that, so I'm gonna just, for this cycle, I'm gonna do it. And since I have 1 extra gallon, I would probably not wait for the next drain and fill to be too far out. Feel it has to be hand tight anyway, and I think this is done. That's where it was earlier, so I'm gonna just leave it there. That's it for here. Let's go ahead and do the refill. So for the refill, just because this thing is in such an awkward place, if you see, I would recommend get something like this. It's a funnel, but it has a flexible tube, and this is what I use. So I'm gonna just put it in place. So this is so lifted and in an awkward position, I decided to just go one at a time. So this is 1 quart. We're gonna slow. We got about 4 quarts out, so I'm gonna do the 4. This is second. So we got, if you can see, exactly about 4 quarts out. We put back 4, just a tiny bit less than 4, and now we are good here. I'm gonna take this one out, and then we will put the cap back in. Then we will have to move the car to a more flat area, get it off the ramp, and then we will check on the level. Alright, so that's in place. I'm gonna go clean this area a little bit. I did drop some of those. I do also have to change the engine air filter. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll take the car off the ramp, and then we'll check the levels. All right, so I think we're done. I put the cap back, make sure that's in place correctly, change the air filter while I was here, and we don't have any leakage or anything under the engine here. I'm gonna clean this a little bit more. I'll come back, kind of check on it later. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the engine and let it idle and cycle through all of the basically the different driving modes: parking and drive, sport, manual, whatever you want to call it, and then neutral. Let the oil cycle and then we will push back. So as I said, I'm not gonna actually drive it. I'm just gonna start the engine. I'm on park right now. I'm going to bring it to neutral. Keep it there for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then take it to drive. Leave it there for a few seconds. I'm gonna go back to sports mode. Bring it back to parking. Bring it reverse. We're just kind of allowing for the fluid to reach everywhere within the transmission before we kind of put any stress or pressure on it. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, more than enough. I think we're good. All right, so that's all for now. I think this is it. I will do the same thing again since it's only taking 4 quarts, so pretty much all of the oil, or half of the oil, I would say. So I'm gonna probably drive for another, I don't know, I use the other gallon to do another drain and fill, and we should be okay. Once again, thank you very much for being here, and you know, if you guys have any questions, you want to know more about any of this, let me know. Once again, I'm not a professional, but I've done this long enough to feel comfortable and continue doing it. Ford says that the transmission on this car is maintenance free. That's not completely true. For the lifetime, I think they consider the 100,000 miles as lifetime. I guess that's probably why they say it. Truth is, it's not really 100% maintenance free. It does have the filter and everything else that is kind of sealed inside. You can't change any of that unless you're opening the whole transmission up, but at least changing the fluid, it's gonna increase the lifespan for sure. Every Ford in the owner's manual, it recommends doing it every 100,000 miles. I don't think that's ideal. Just, you know, seeing what I've seen so far on my car, I think about 30,000 miles is what I would do. It costs about 50 grand. Oh, sorry, not 50 grand. The car is 50 grand, but the liquid or fluid is just about 50 bucks. So I think that's way cheaper. You know, I don't mind doing it every 30,000 miles. So this one is actually sooner than 30,000. Last one was 55. I think I remember 50, I guess. So it's about 20,000 here. And that's why I wasn't too worried about only getting 4 quarts out. I think another 10-15,000 miles down the road, I will do another flush and it will be okay. All right, that's all for now. Thank you very much, you guys, for the support. Keep liking, keep subscribing. I am trying to add more content to the channel, and hopefully I'll soon be reaching the 1,000 subscriber mark, so help me with that. Thanks again, and see you guys in the next video. Thank you.